The AC in the mall was blasting, but my back was soaked with sweat. I saw my wife. Emily was standing by the escalator on the 3rd floor. Next to her was a guy in a light gray hoodie. Her hand was resting on his forearm, the way she always used to hold on to me when we went shopping. They hadn't seen me. The escalator carried me up, closer and closer. Emily was smiling, showing 8 teeth. I hadn't seen her smile like that at me in 3 months. 3rd floor. When I stepped off, the guy was leaning down, saying something to her. She tilted her head to listen, eyes bright. Then she saw me. The smile froze on her face, just locked there. Her hand didn't move. Still on his arm. I walked over. The guy turned to look at me. 6 feet tall, maybe a little more. Buzz cut. Stubble on his chin. He didn't step back. If anything, he shifted half a step forward, putting Emily slightly behind him. I asked her, "What are you doing here?" Emily opened her mouth but didn't make a sound. Her face went pale for a second, then flushed red. She finally pulled her hand back, but too deliberately, like she was trying to cover something up. "Jack," she said, my name floating out thin and shaky. I just came to buy something." "Since when do you need a man to buy something?" I glanced at him, then back at her. People nearby started slowing down. A woman pushing a stroller stopped altogether, pretending to fix the canopy. I didn't want to make a scene. I lowered my voice. "Come home with me." Just 4 words. I didn't yell, didn't curse, didn't point at him and ask who he was. Emily looked at the guy. That one look, and I understood. She wasn't panicking. She was checking. Checking if he was upset. Checking if he was going to leave. I'd seen that look before. She used to look at me like that when we were dating. Then she turned back to me, and her voice suddenly got louder. "Don't be like this. We're just friends." Everyone heard. The woman with the stroller looked up. The boba shop employee leaned out over the counter. 2 teenagers coming up the escalator pulled out their phones. Emily stood there, chest rising and falling, looking at me like I was some unreasonable jerk. She pointed at me and said to the guy, "He's been under a lot of stress lately. He overthinks. You should go. I'll explain it to him." The guy nodded and looked at me. I understood that look too. He was smiling. Not on his face, just in his eyes. He patted Emily on the shoulder and walked off, slow and easy, like some wronged good guy. Emily watched him go, then turned back to me and lowered her voice. "Let's talk at home." I didn't move. I looked at her, this woman I'd been married to for 3 years. The tips of her ears were bright red, but her eyes were steady. She was calculating. Figuring out how to spin this. "Jack." Her voice softened. She tried to reach for my hand. I stepped back. Then I walked away too. Not fast. Not slow. Just walked. Elevator. 1st floor. Parking garage. Car. I didn't look back once. By the time she ran out, I'd already started the engine. She slapped the window, yelling my name through the glass. I shifted into reverse and drove off. In the rearview mirror, she stood in the middle of the lane in the garage, getting smaller and smaller. That night, she came home. The second she walked in, she started talking, fast. Said the guy was a coworker. Said they just happened to run into each other at the mall. Said I embarrassed her today. Said how would her coworkers look at her now. She kept talking. Then she stopped. Because I was smiling. "What are you smiling at?" "I didn't raise my voice once in that mall," I said. She froze. "I kept my voice lower than yours. I said, 'Come home with me.' You said, 'Don't be like this.'" She went quiet. "Who embarrassed who?" She stood in the middle of the living room, her hands starting to shake. "You defended him," I said, standing up. "You fucking defended him in front of all those people." I thought about the way he looked at me. The way he patted her shoulder and she didn't move away. The way she looked at me like I was an outsider. "Jack," she said my name again. She'd said it too many times tonight. "Let's get a divorce." Her mouth opened. No sound came out. I went upstairs and started packing. She followed, blocking the bedroom door, saying there was nothing between them, that I was imagining things, that the guy already had a girlfriend. What's that got to do with me? She had no answer. I carried my suitcase downstairs. She grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my skin. I pulled free, opened the door, and walked out. When the door shut, I heard her crying. I didn't look back. Later I found out the guy really did have a girlfriend. Emily thought he was single. He thought Emily was close to getting divorced. Both of them thought they were keeping their options open. Both thought they were winning. By the time they realized neither of them had ever meant to be serious, it was already public. Someone posted screenshots in the company group chat. Somebody at the mall had filmed that day. The caption read, wife defends her side piece in public. Husband leaves in silence. We finalized the divorce 3 months later. On the day we signed, Emily had lost so much weight her cheekbones were sharp. She asked if we could talk again. I didn't. When I walked out of the civil affairs office, the sun was bright. I squinted up at the sky and thought about that look she gave him in the mall. When she defended him, she meant it. It wasn't a slip of the tongue. It wasn't panic. In those few seconds, she made a choice, to choose him, to protect that relationship. She thought she could fix it later. You can't fix that. The moment you publicly deny your husband, the marriage is already over. The paperwork is just a formality. The sun burned against my face. I kept walking. I didn't look back.